Over the next couple hours is really going to shift to the Big Bend, the Nature Coast, where this storm is going to make landfall. That's where we're talking about the worst of the impacts. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty out there, but our weather is starting to improve, and it will gradually continue to improve as we get into the afternoon, evening hours. You're thinking about lightning game. You're not going to really have any issues as we start to dry things out. Likely seeing sunshine, believe it or not, by this afternoon. 77, a shaky camera out there in Clearwater, and obviously you don't want to be on the water. There's still a high rip current risk, high surf. You don't want to be boating on a day like this, and southwesterly winds that are in the single digits. I mean, if that's not improvement, I don't know what is. And of course, the storm not too long ago was passing just offshore. Now the center is right over here, so you could see there's Citrus County, there's Levy County, and that's where probably somewhere in here we'll see the center cross into land, and that's when we officially have a landfall. In the meantime, on the east side, we know what to expect, and we pretty much got what we expected. A lot of rain across many neighborhoods, but it just wasn't evenly distributed. And you could see there's the big band that we were tracking. There's some areas where we really didn't see much rain, and there's more showers closer to the center along the coast where some areas are dealing with copious amounts of rain. Look to the south, and it's just crazy, some of these totals. Upwards of 9-inch radar estimated totals. We made a lot of comparisons to Ada as we were tracking the storm because, you know, by the looks of it, the storms are similar. It was a similar track, that sort of thing. It doesn't mean the impacts were going to be the same. And with Ada, yeah, we had an axis of heavier rain, but it was a little bit closer to the coast. I mean, parts of like Hillsborough County got over 10 inches of rain with that system. This time around, 2 to 3, maybe 4 in isolated pockets. So what we know is if this axis would have been a little bit closer to I-75, it would have been a much different scenario, likely more flooding issues out there. So thankfully, we're not seeing that, but still flooding concerns, especially to the south. Some of the rivers in Manatee County have flood warnings. That's what you're seeing in these darker shades. Hardy, DeSoto County, inland sections of Manatee, Sarasota County, flood warnings in effect until 3 o'clock. We've got a general flood watch in effect until 2 o'clock for our area. All that means is as we continue to track bands of rain, we're just going to have to keep in mind that at points in time, it will just be messy and heavy. So FUTURECAST, as we go through this afternoon, will continue to feature more bands of showers, everything kind of moving its way from south to north, and likely some of the same areas could deal with more rain. That's why we really got to be on guard for any more potential flooding. And FUTURECAST by this evening, the widespread showers you see now aren't going to be around. We're talking about maybe a couple isolated pockets of rain, not much. Clouds starting to clear and major improvements. There's the latest 65-mile-an-hour system moving north. There's landfall here in a moment, and then continuing to weaken as it makes its way over land, approaching the Carolinas later on. So big story, and the concern for storm surge was something we were talking about. Well, I think that concern is way, way, way down at this point. In fact, storm surge warnings have allowed to expire. What we really haven't seen are winds turning onshore. Instead, they've been predominantly out of the south and not all that strong. The strongest gust I've got for you is about 29 miles per hour out there in Clearwater, but maybe just above normal tide. That's about it at this point. St. Pete, you're saying maybe over half a foot. So we'll watch maybe some high water pockets, but no major impacts from storm surge or coastal flooding, thankfully.